Well, welcome to The Journey. My name is Kevin Polky, and I am the host of The Journey. And today we are going to talk about and reflect on some events that happened over the past weekend for myself and for Diane. You may, during this recording, you may hear some background noise. I'll get into that in a little bit of what may be what led to that and what is happening right now. So, as we were getting ready for transitioning from winter into spring and getting ready for summer, one of the things that Diane and I do is prepare the one of my offices, one of KP's offices, and getting it ready for summer. We have healing gardens that are connected to the woods. It's on a 2-acre piece of land, and it's a has some very nice sitting areas that my counselors and clients can go out and have a counseling session outside, or if people want to come early, they can sit outside in the healing gardens, or they're able to, while they may have a significant other that's in session, they can be outside instead of in the waiting room. But one of the things that we have to do with that is that we have to clean off all the chairs and get everything. And that was one of the things that we were doing just a couple of days ago. And we also were, Diane was putting flowers in the plants and in the planters, and the summer plants were all getting prepared for that. So one of the things that we were doing was we were spraying the chairs down to get the dust and the dirt off that accumulated over the wintertime. As Diane was doing that and appeared to be wrapping up, I went inside to grab a ladder to check out something else on the roof. And as I went in, I noticed that our water cooler that we have for individuals to get water appeared to be leaking, and there was a little bit of water on the ground. So I started cleaning that up. After I finished cleaning that up, I was going back to get the ladder, and as I walked down the hallway, I noticed that there was water on the ground, like enough water on the ground that I was now sloshing in it. Don't know exactly how much. Was it a half an inch or inch? I don't know, but proceeded to try to figure out where this water was coming from, seeing that we had not had any of those torrential storms, which usually leads to these types of problems at the office. As I searched around and went into one of the offices, I saw that must be where it's coming from. I went upstairs quickly to see if, because my office is directly above that office, and my office was dry. And then it dawned on me that the outside hose that Diane and I were using to spray down the chairs was right outside this particular office. And that was where the water was coming in from. Thank goodness this water stopped coming in as we turned the faucet off, and then proceeded to go through the aspect of cleaning. Long and the short of it, it took me about 3 hours to clean. We sucked up about 20 gallons of water. We put fans down, we put dehumidifiers down, and I proceeded to call my brother-in-law's brother, who was the general contractor when we originally did this project in 2010. And he's the reason why we may have some background noise, because he is fixing the pipe that had broke, assumingly over the winter. So at the time when it happened, I was frustrated, angry, because we had obviously had plans for that Saturday to do things, and I had sent Diane to go do those plans, and I proceeded to clean up because, well, it needed to be cleaned up. Every year since 2007, there has been some part, either at my residential house or in one of our commercial buildings, where we've had water difficulties. Water in the house, water flooding our front yard at our house, sump pumps not working, storms that led to water being inside the house at the commercial building. I've thought many times that of what things can we do to prevent this from happening, but it seems like every time we do something to prevent it, then it finds a different way. This particular time that a pipe broke, and there was no way of being able to determine that until it actually broke. And we're assuming it froze over the wintertime, which caused it to break, even though it's one of the faucets, external faucets, that is supposed to never freeze. So everything was done on Saturday. I came back to the office to check on the dehumidifiers throughout the weekend. Had an opportunity to be at church yesterday listening to a message. And then this morning, when I was doing my devotion, I do a Jesus Calling devotion. This is what came up. So I'm going to read it to you. When things don't go as you would like, accept the situation immediately. If you indulge in the feelings of regret, they can easily spill over the line into resentment. Remember that I am sovereign over your circumstances, and humble yourself under my mighty hand. Rejoice in what I'm doing in your life, even though it is beyond your understanding. I am the way, the truth, and the life. In me, you have everything you need, both for this life and for the life to come. Don't let the impact of the world shatter your thinking or draw you away from focusing on me. The ultimate challenge is to keep fixing your eyes on me, no matter what is going on around you. When I am central in your thinking, you are able to view circumstances from my perspective. Let me read that last line again. When I, God, am central in your thinking, you are able to view circumstances from his perspective. That was a reminder for me of the summer, August of 2007, when it was the first flood that we experienced at our house, in which we had damage not only to one of the commercial buildings, one of the office buildings, but we also had damage. Two of our cars were totaled because they were in the street because our cement driveway was curing, and we had damage inside the house as well. And each time throughout that week, that happened on a Monday night, Tuesday morning, when that flood happened, throughout that week, it seemed like more and more things were revealing themselves that had been damaged by the water. And I remember waking up about a week later, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, not being able to sleep, worrying, concerned about the costs, what was going to happen. Are we going to be able to afford or take care of this? Because our insurance, we weren't able to make a claim. Well, we were able to make a claim on the cars, but not on the house or the commercial building. That was in 2007. That was 15 years ago, coming up on 16 years. I remember laying there that morning as if it was just this weekend, worrying, continue to have the thoughts go over and over in my head, attempting to pray for some type of peace or direction, or at least just to go back to sleep. And it felt like nothing would come. Laying there, tossing and then turning once again, hoping not to wake Diane up. At some point in the midst of that night, I had an image in my mind of something that looked like the Goodyear blimp with the teleprompter that has words going across from from left to right. And it said, humble thyself in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. And it just kept going, same verse over and over again. Humble thyself in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. I remember initially seeing that a couple times in this image in my mind and thinking, are you kidding me? I feel broken and I feel humiliated because of what's happening. And then it dawned on me as the verse continued to play until it sunk in that though I felt broken and though I felt humiliated, I hadn't humbled myself. I was still trying to figure it out. I was not releasing it and trying to look at it from a higher perspective, from God's perspective. Now, 15 years later, I know that though that was the beginning of what seems to be an annual thing in the Polky family, but it almost always works out, similar to this past weekend. So, similar to the devotion this morning, to release it and turn it over and pray that I can see it from God's perspective. That if I can humble myself, as it says in James 4:10, then he will lift me up. Will it change everything? Not necessarily, meaning physically change things. But will it change my viewpoint? It can if I allow it. And that, for me, is all the difference because the rest of it will almost always work out. As always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to as we reflect, and whatever you understand God to be, I would encourage you to continue seeking that relationship, continue seeking that guidance from God as you understand Him. For me, it is Christianity is my basis, but for whatever that is for you, seek that out so that you can have a higher perspective and then be lifted up. As always, I appreciate you being here and look forward to being with you next week.